Dear students of class 8A and 8B, today I am going to teach you about the lesson the American Civil War, which already I started teaching. Today's point, the American Civil War, during the American Civil War, a new confederacy was formed. By whom? By their new leader, Jefferson Davis. Jefferson Davis became their new leader, and a new confederacy of states was formed under the appeal of the southern states. Now question is, why did they make such appeal? Because they were in favor of continuing slavery, practice of slavery. But the northern states, they were against the practice of slavery. And as soon as Abraham Lincoln became the 16th president of northern states, North America, the southern state realized that the slavery would be abolished from southern states was sure. That's why they broke away from the Union, which was the American Union, which was formed the time when George Washington became the first president of America. America became an independent country. That very union, which was formed by George Washington, southern states were also part of it. Naturally, southern states realized that it was the right time to break away from the American Union. Otherwise, it was sure they would abolish the slavery system from the grassroots level of their states, southern states. That's why they made a president of their nation. Who became the president? Jefferson Davis. He became the president of the southern states. Means southern states, there was no specific system of allowing him to be the president of the southern states, but a confederacy was formed. A Confederate States was formed whose president was the Jefferson Davis. Jefferson Davis became its president, and he also drew a new constitution, and at the same time he made the new flag of his confederacy. But on the other hand, the northern states made their president. Who was made the president of northern states? Abraham Lincoln became the 16th president of North America, and determined to abolish the slavery, the practice of slavery. Why? Because he realized that inhuman practice of slavery, where the African Americans were treated with cruelty, there was no sympathy for them. Men were treated just like wild beasts. They had no sympathy, they had no cooperation, they were forced to work, they were forced to provide hard labor. That kind of malpractice, where human beings were maltreated by the people of America, that glory and image of America was declined, was being dishonored from time to time. That's why Abraham Lincoln, on being the 16th president of North America, decided to abolish slavery from the grassroots level of the society, in the interest of the country America itself, because America was a great nation. They, made their country free, established their independence by defeating the British soldiers. So They wanted to glorify the image of the Americans as a great nation of the world. That's why, my dear students, the Confederate States under the leadership of Jefferson Davis realized that each and every state should have their independent rights to take any decision independently. It was the concept and conviction of Jefferson Davis and the people of southern states. The people of southern states, including its president Jefferson Davis, realized that felt that each and every state should have individual rights to take any decision independently. That's why Jefferson Davis declared the system, the practice of slavery legal. He gave a step that it was a legal system of practice. So he did not declare it illegal, but he declared it to be legal, the practice of slavery. And hence, the cheap labor, the problem which they had been thinking whether they should face any kind of problem like that, they had not now they had not any problem to face that kind of problem because slavery system was declared legal by Jefferson Davis as soon as the Confederate State was formed. So the two person Jefferson Davis and Abraham Lincoln. Jefferson Davis and Abraham Lincoln. Jefferson Davis became the president of the Confederate States, Confederate Union, which was newly formed in protest against their will to abolish the practice of slavery because they favored the practice of slavery since they needed cheap labor since the southern states were totally dependent on their plantations, but northern states they had so many industries. They are industrialized states, so their culture was quite different than that of the culture of the southern states. The southern states people were not as educated as the people of northern states. They were educated, well cultured. They led modern lifestyle. On the contrary, the southern state led not modern lifestyle, but a very simple life they were leading. But they depended on cheap labor, and cheap labor would be possible only when they would be able to purchase slaves. Means people belonging to very poor category, poor families. They purchased them at fixed price, and then they allowed them to work in their agricultural lands as slaves. But the system of treating them varied from place to place, from person to person. The person who are very unsympathetic, who are very crude, shrewd, very mischievous, they always treated the slaves as wild beasts. They treated with cruelty. They treated them with cruelty. Naturally, the people of northern states were offended against that system because they belonged to America. America was a nation. That's why as American, they had their own glory, they had their own prestige, But on being the president, 16th president of Northern America, Abraham Lincoln took an oath that he would remove all kinds of distress, all kinds of irregularity from America, whether it was northern or southern. In northern part of America, there was no problem because most of them rich, prosperous, happy, and wealthy. They had no problem. But in the southern part of America, they also earn a lot of money, but they were conservative. That's why they did not want to receive education. They were arrogant. They were adamant, brute. But and it was due to that reason they were in favor of continuing slavery, practice of slavery. But Abraham Lincoln, on being 16th president of North America, determined to remove, slavery, the practice of slavery, and hence he decided either he would declare war against southern states in order to abolish slavery, or he would make them understand. He would try to make them understand its drawbacks, and if they did not like to accept his persuasive arguments, in that case he would declare war against whom? Against southern states. But meanwhile, 11 states of southern states, 11 states of southern states, they seceded from the American Union and made the Confederacy of States under the leadership of Jefferson Davis, and made the Jefferson Davis their president. Jefferson Davis became the president of the Confederate States. He openly declared that there would be no possibility of abolishing slavery because each state should have their own right to decide themselves, and then each state should have their rights to decide independently. It is the right to decide independently itself. That's why it was due to that reason the American Union also was determined to declare war against the Confederate States, and hence a war was inevitable. A war was inevitable between the two states, the northern states and the American states. Both of them got themselves well prepared to face each other, and then a war was declared. That war was known as American Civil War, my dear students. That war was known as American Civil War. American Civil War. In 1854, Northern states formed the Republican Party. In 1854, the Northern states formed a party. The name of the party was Republican Party. In which year was it formed? In the year 1854, the Northern state formed a party named Republican Party, and unanimously they elected Abraham Lincoln to be their 16th president. So Abraham Lincoln became the 16th president of the Northern states. And then on behalf of the Republican Party, they started anti-slavery agitation, and then at the time he realized that southern states, he decided to declare war, and the civil war was taken place in which year? In the year 1861, the civil war was taken place. Civil war was taken place in which year? 1861. 1861, the civil war was taken place in which date? 12 April. 12 April 12, the civil war was taken place. April 12, 1861, the civil war was taken place between the two states, the northern states and the southern states. The northern states were determined from the very, very beginning to defeat them. Meanwhile, on 12th April, when they declared war and civil war was continuing, civil war was going on, civil war was going on that time. Within a week or within 4 weeks or few more states of America, they broke away from the American Union, and like Virginia, Arkansas, Virginia, and North Carolina, they left the Union and joined the Confederacy. Means these states decided to strengthen the hands of whom? Hands of Davies. Wanted to make them free. But Abraham Lincoln was not ready. He was totally in the dark. He could not think that those states would leave American Union, and join the Confederacy of Jefferson Davis. That's why he decided to take immediate action. It was a war between members of the same country which spread the country wide open, and many battles also were fought with neither of the sides being able to dominate the other completely. The civil war continued for 4 years, causing the loss of millions of lives, and over 600,000 people died, and many more got wounded during the civil war. The northern state finally defeated the southern states, as their army was better equipped, well trained, and superior resources also were with them, such as rifle, machine guns, armored ships, so many things also were with them. Moreover, the bold leadership of Abraham Lincoln also helped them to defeat the southern states. And by this way, southern states were defeated by the northern states, and Abraham Lincoln was able to remove slavery from southern states of America. So America became a country free of slavery, practice of slavery, and Abraham Lincoln was able to establish the glory and image of the America as a great nation of the world by defeating the southern states. So up to this, my dear students, next day the remaining part of this lesson will be continued. Thank you, my dear students.